allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call on Councilman G. McLeod to say the implication.
Let's bow our heads. Most gracious and everlasting Father, just once more again, we come to say thank you for your grace and mercy. We thank you for keeping us. We thank you for last night's rest. We thank you for blessing everyone here today. Lord, bless this council that we make the best decision for Dillon County. All this we ask in your Son, Jesus Christ's name, we give you the mighty praise. Amen.
Amen.
Number 3 now, approval of the agenda. Requires a motion. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to amend the agenda on 11A, and we can remove that.
You want to do what?
Amend the agenda.
Remove 11A.
11A.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have a motion to amend the agenda.
Second.
Second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. What do you want to amend it to?
Just remove it.
Remove it.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion to amend the agenda and it's been approved.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion now to approve the amended agenda?
I make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, we have a motion now to approve the amended agenda. We voted on that, didn't we?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Approval of minutes, January the 26th, February the 1st, and February the 9th. This requires a motion. We have a motion to approve those minutes.
I make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, well, number 5, U.V. Angel, Mr. William Brown.
Number 5, Dillon County. Number 5 is Dillon County.
We got the amended agenda. Let's see here.
You give me the horn.
Apologize.
Well, number 5, Dillon County creditors, Jamal County.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, to the council. As you know, Dillon County Predators is one of our AAU teams in Dillon. These guys do a phenomenal job with our young people, not just based on athleticism, but they are structured as far as mentoring goes and have those kids doing community service hours. Some of you may know I shared a post around Christmas time. They gave out over 300 hot meals to seniors from nursing homes, assisted living, and just people in general that were hungry. That's commendable. You know, our county has pride on football and state championships for a long time, but it's a lot more that has to be done on and off that field. And so we want to commend Mr. Kevin Locklear and his staff for the fine job that they've done with these guys, and we just want to present them with this plaque that reads, Dillon County Council, congratulations to Kevin Locklear, Director, and the Dillon County Predators on your national championship. Yeah, y'all can come around. On your national championship. Thank you for your commitment and mentorship presented on this 23rd day of February 2022 by Councilman Jamal Campbell, District 1. Amen.
Go to the next team.
Let's share now, right?
That's it.
Wait, no, I got one that I missed. Gotcha.
Congratulations.
We appreciate all the help and support that we get from y'all. I mean, it's more than me to it. It's a lot that goes into what we do. A lot of coaches, a lot of people in the community that help us out and support us. I can give a big shout out to Mr. Larry German. He helped us out a lot. Mr. Dillon helped us out a lot. Man, right here help us out a lot. I didn't know he was gonna be here. I'm glad to see you. We talk on the phone a lot, and I hope to see you stay in Charlotte. I'm glad to see you. So I appreciate it.
Proud of you.
Thank you, thank you. Appreciate it, folks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're on number 6 now. UV Angel, Mr. William Brown.
Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good. Thank you for the opportunity to let me give you a short talk. My name is William Brown. I represent UV Angel Air, and we are a small business located in Charlotte, North Carolina, veteran-owned business. And we are going around speaking to school systems, hospitals, and city and county governments about an awesome technology that we have. We are an authorized representative distributor of UV Angel Air, which is an air purification technology that purifies indoor air of 88 airborne pathogens, including the coronavirus. The good thing about, the information we would like to provide today is that the federal government has buckets of money that they will actually fund not only the equipment, but the installation of this technology. With that being said, I have the Executive Vice President of UV Angel Air on the screen here, Mr. Alan Watts, and he's going to give you guys a short talk about the technology, the science behind the technology, and also the funding that's allocated to actually implement and deploy this technology throughout the county. Alan, can you hear me? So we need to let's see. Can you speak? Let's see if we can get you.
I thought he had it set up.
Yeah. Alan, say something for us.
Looks like this microphone may be on.
His microphone's not working.
Can you unmute yourself, Alan? Can you unmute yourself, Alan?
Yep, just did. Can everybody?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, we're ready for you. Thank you, Alan. Go ahead and begin. We all see you and hear you clearly.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me just turn this off here. All right. So I am very appreciative to have the floor for a few minutes here to talk to you all. I wish I could see everybody in the room, but I can't. And I can hear all of the the applause and the laughter of my really funny jokes as we talk. So this is going to be really strange. I have no response here, but I will do my best. So let me just share my screen with everybody, and hopefully you can all see this. So William, I thank you for the introduction. So my name is Alan Watts. I am the Executive Vice President of UV Angel, and I know that over the past couple of years, as folks in charge of communities, certainly this has been a very, very challenging time for you and the community as a whole. So I'm going to kind of share some of my thoughts with you on kind of where we were, where we are, and what the future looks like in our indoor spaces, and just take you through some of the technology that we have. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to date myself a little bit here, and perhaps you all remember this guy, the Memorex guy. There's no doubt that everybody kind of feels that way, getting blown back by all of the information and misinformation in the media and all that noise. And for folks like yourselves who are are charged with a lot of responsibilities, certainly figuring out what is the best course of action to take to mitigate risk is a challenge. And that's kind of how we all have felt. And all of a sudden you had to become an expert at pathogen control, and that's a really difficult place to be, because I'll tell you how someone who's been in this field for decades, that is incredibly difficult. But real quick about UV Angel and where we've come from. So our current company started in 2014, and we had a very, very focused methodology and vision, and that was really hospitals and HAI, these hospital-associated infections. That was our mission, is to kind of mitigate that risk. You know, someone goes into a hospital for some procedure, and they end up getting some infection that's worse in the hospital, you know, because those things are floating around in the air and they're, you know, quite dangerous. So, you know, you fast forward to 2019 and COVID hits. Well, all of a sudden we went from this, you know, this healthcare-focused company to working with some of the, you know, largest companies on the planet. You know, whether it's Starbucks, McDonald's, whether it's the work we're doing with the Department of Defense right now, and the VA hospitals, and Ford, and Herman Miller, and literally quite hundreds and hundreds of school districts across the country. They have now entrusted us to kind of really guide them through this process, and it really has to. There's no magic bullet here. There's no, you know, kind of behind the screen. We open it up and there's nothing there. It's, you know, we're a science-based company, and we don't do anything without science telling us what to do. So what does UV Angel do? Is quite simple. We develop these pathogen control technologies. We look at pathogen control quite differently than a lot of other companies out there. Number one, we really are focusing on what's happening in that room. It's like all of the folks that are on this Zoom call now. You're in a room together. We hope that no one is ill and no one is spreading germs, but at the end of the day, there's a good chance that's the case. So that's our focus, is in that room where people are. And we're led by really one of the most important people in this space of pathogen control, is Dr. Linda Lee. She has literally written the book in this particular field, spent more than 30 years in her career focused on this. So she's our chief medical officer. She sets all the clinical parameters and just says kind of some like background of who she is and why she's so important. You know, Linda Lee is, you know, at MD Anderson Cancer Center. She was the, she basically ran the entire facility, 18 million square feet under air. At CH2N Hill, really focusing on biological weapons of interest to the federal government, Stericycle, you name it. But really what's important about her today is that she sits on quite literally no less than 8 or 9 ASHRAE committees, which is that body that really determines a lot what's happening in terms of the engineering of our indoor spaces when it comes to ventilation, air conditioning, and heating. She chairs 2 of them, one which reports directly to the CDC and the task force at the White House. So she is certainly, you know, kind of a leader in her field. So what do we know? We certainly know that coronavirus is airborne, and all of these pathogens, most of them are airborne contaminants. And you know, when the CDC finally came out, you know, a year and a half ago and said that it's airborne, we kind of sat back and said, well, heck, we knew that. That's not news to us. We knew this was an airborne problem, and we know that people are that source. It's certainly not growing in the air conditioning. It's not growing on the floor. It's not on the walls. Somebody walks into a room and they are sick, whether it's coronavirus, whether it's the cold or the flu. They are spreading their germs. It's in the air. There are plumes of pathogens that are flying around. And if we don't have any device in that room to help protect us, someone is going to get sick. So that's the goal of our company. How do you protect people in these spaces, create an environment that is safer and healthier? Cleaning, we are cleaning. I remember in the beginning of the pandemic, when we were wiping down groceries, when you go to the store and they say, yeah, wipe everything down, get an Amazon delivery, you wipe it down before you bring it in. It's crazy stuff. And it doesn't do anything. So, you know, we're hand washing, we're spraying chemicals, we're spending so much money on these chemicals, and I know labor to do this stuff, and really we're not doing anything. We're not really affecting those rooms in which people are actually getting sick. So, you know, we can talk about the federal guidelines and so forth, but really what I want to say to you all is that, you know, there's an effectiveness of the things that we can do to protect ourselves against all of these things that are floating in the air. The most important thing that we can do is really the top of the food chain is an engineered control. And that's very simple, is a device that we install, we turn it on, and we let it go. It's doing the work for us. It is, in our case, it's scrubbing the air, removing that pathogen load. So it's quite simple, but it's what really, OSHA, CDC, ASHRAE, it's their recommendation that these are the kind of things that we should be deploying. And it's pretty simple when you think about it. You know, if you deploy this automated continuous treatment, you're scrubbing that air and you're removing that pathogen load, which is lowering the risk. And that lowered risk is continuous. It's not fluctuating over time. So it's just creating a safer environment. You know, HVAC is really important, and it's talked about a lot now. You just put in those MERV 13 filters and you crank it up and you move as much air as you can. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a theory. You know, perhaps not the best one if you really study, you know, kind of what happens with pathogens. But you know, HVAC is great at bringing in cool air or warm air. It's designed for that. Not so much as a pathogen control device. You know, when we put in these HEP filters, we put in these, you know, very dense filters, we end up doing a lot of choking of the system. We create more problems. We do a lot more harm than good, actually. So, you know, again, when it comes to deployment of HVAC, cooling and heating is really what it's for, not necessarily to protect us. So, what is UV Angel and how does it work? I'm going to show you real quick and tell you the story because it's a pretty simple system. So these units, the air units are designed in a 2x4 format. They go into standard drop ceiling. They can also be mounted on hard surfaces and dropped by a wire. But what happens is there's a series of fans and filters, draws the air from that room into this sealed chamber that's fully mirrored that houses a very high intensity lamp. So as these particles hit that chamber, they are met with like a flamethrower. And they are eradicated, they cannot multiply, they're turned inert. And basically what happens, clean air is then just deployed, you know, dropped back in that room. And this is happening 24/7, 365, without any byproduct, without any chemicals, without any labor, without any of the things that are, you know, kind of causing problems. But very simple, very effective, very proven. And that's the most important thing, it's proven technology. So we're talking about really a plug-and-play unit. You know, I'd say it's ubiquitous. You know, these group ceilings, these 2x4, 2x2 ceilings they're everywhere. So these things can either replace an existing 2x4 fixture, or they can sit next to an existing one in an open space. They come in two versions. One comes with an LED downlight. One is just ventilation. These things are fully shielded. They're safety switches, interlock switches, ETL listed, EPA registered. Maintenance once a year. Once a year we change out a bowl and a filter. That's it. So very, very light on the maintenance aspect of it. And again, as I said, we can mount these things on the ceiling, on hard ceilings, or we've got open grid, you know, open ceilings. Drop those via cable kits that we have. But this is really what it's all about. And if I was going to show you anything today, what we do is what Dr. Lee has coined the trifecta of testing. So we do our laboratory testing, we do real-world testing, and then we do the gold standard, which is peer review. Basically, the medical journals that take all of our information and validate what we've done. But these two charts that you see here, these are 88 of the most horrible viruses, bacteria, fungus, molds that you could ever imagine. I cannot pronounce a third of the things on this list. I just know I don't want any of you to ever come in contact with these things. I mean, this is literally Ebola, Marburg virus, E. coli, and what you see in yellow is that coronavirus Wuhan strain, which is the COVID-19. So these are really awful things. And if you look at the column, that total column, that's a single pass through our system. One time, one single pass through. So, effectiveness is real. And again, when we talk about efficacy, we have gone through live, then the next step in this trifecta is this live work that we do at like, for example, on the left, ICU in Kentucky, one of the most virally loaded places you can imagine. And we're getting 60% total infection reductions in that environment. Now, the most important piece of the puzzle is clinical studies, is peer review, third-party review, in like the American Journal of Infection Control. So they take all of our data, they do their own messaging, and that's where we go. Anyway, the proof is in the science. We have a tremendous amount of data. There is a lot of funding available, from the federal government right now that makes this, really, it's an amazing moment in time that allows for this. And we're doing it with school districts all over the country. But I know everybody is end of day, and we're going to just kind of wrap it up now, and I appreciate it, and hopefully we can discuss this in a different environment when we're able to actually talk about this. So thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you, Alan. And so that was just the Cliff Notes version of what our technology does. Like I mentioned before in the beginning, there's an opportunity for us to deploy this technology throughout the county, schools, hospitals. I will say that the FEMA has a grant of $35 million that the county could apply for and deploy this technology. We don't want to come here and sound like used car salesman at all, but there is a deadline for the money expires April 1st. The Biden administration, it did expire December 31st, they did extend it until April 1st. So right now we have not gotten word if that funding is going to continue or not. But let me just run you through the short process if you were interested in moving forward with the county, is that we would only need access to your reflective ceiling plans and blueprints. And then what we would do is our in-house engineering team would take compose a custom proposal for each space in the county. So like, for example, you have this same size room, this is a conference room or a meeting room versus a print and copy room, the same size. But the engineers may say, hey, because you may have 20 or 30 more people gathering in one space, you may need 5 or 6 units in this space versus the next room, if it's a print and copy, 1 or 2 lighting units. And so once we prepare that custom plan for each individual space, we would give that back to the county. Then you all would take that to that one, I guess it's, you guys get federal funding, whoever that person or department would be, you sit down, go to an online government portal, you apply for the funding, you upload the documents that we provide, and we sit back and wait for funding. And the other great thing about it is that once and if you're approved for funding to install these units around the county, you can hire local contractors, so it's bringing in jobs and opportunity for local businesses to also gain work and employment from this entire project. With that being said, we don't want to take too much of your time. We appreciate your time and efforts, and if you want to have more information, I will be around after to give out. I did leave a little packet there on all of your desks there, and we'd love to speak more in the future about possibly moving forward with this opportunity. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Mr. Brown, thank you for bringing us this information, and I think it'd be very useful. We'll certainly look at it.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Do we need to make a motion to apply for them?
Well, I think you may want to look at the information first, and then absolutely after that, we need to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing back from you. Thank you.
So on number 5 now, resolution Black History Month.
No.
You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'm glad to. It's a resolution proclaiming the month of February as Black History Month in Dillon County. Whereas much of the county of Dillon's honor, strength, and stature can be attributed to the diversity of cultures and traditions that are celebrated by the residents of this great county. And whereas African Americans have played significant roles in the history of South Carolina's economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development while working tirelessly to maintain and promote their culture and history. And whereas as a result of their determination, hard work, intelligence, and perseverance, African Americans have made valuable and lasting contributions to Dillon County and our state, achieving exceptional success in all aspects of society, including business, education, politics, science, and the arts. And whereas in 1976, Black History Month was formally adopted to honor and affirm the importance of Black history throughout our American experience, which goes back thousands of years and includes some of the greatest and most advanced and innovative societies in our history that we can all draw inspiration from. And whereas Black History Month is a time for all Americans to remember the stories and teachings of those who helped build our nation, took a stance against prejudice to build lives of dignity and opportunity, advanced the causes of civil rights, and strengthened our families and communities. And whereas during Black History Month, all Americans are encouraged to reflect on the past successes and challenges of African Americans and look to the future to continue to improve society so that we live up to the ideals of freedom, equality, and justice. Now therefore be it resolved that the County Council of Dillon County does hereby proclaim the month of February as Black History Month, and that by issuing this proclamation, the Dillon County Council encourages all residents to join us in honoring the many contributions made by African Americans to Dillon County and to the state of South Carolina.
We have a motion to pass the resolution.
I make that motion, Chair.
Okay, for a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Get me on number 8 now, Mr. James Knowles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Ben Brazil, and I'm here with James Knox. We're here to give an update to the county for the broadband project. Appreciate seeing many of you council members out at our broadband roundtable a few months ago, and we presented to you what we were doing to build out the county. James has some information.
Is it right to hand some stuff out, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Sir.
As you may remember from our presentation a couple of months ago, we received federal grants to build out about 75 to 80% of the county. That's the first page on your slide. So the blue areas that are shaded are the regional digital opportunity, or the RDOF areas that we are building as a part of the contract that will be before you tonight. We had 6 years to build it out in 40 different South Carolina counties. As a result of a lot of influence from Coach Jackie Hayes at the legislature and others, we are accelerating to the very front of the line, Dillon County, and that's the blue regions that you see there today. That got most of the county, did not get all of the county. So the next page shows you in that area below Lada, the southern area of the county, additional 346 addresses or 36 miles of fiber. While we're building it and accelerating it, we worked very carefully with the county administration and your GIS expert to try and identify the most that we could get to 95% of the county. That would be these additional 346 addresses, and there'll be the contract before you tonight for that additional 346 addresses, with Charter paying half of that. So basically, we are investing $10 million for the RDOF. The 85%, this is an additional $1.5 million that we have proposed to take on $830,000 more if the county would pick up $750,000. That will get us very, very close to 95% broadband to the county, completed by the third quarter of 2023, to start at the beginning of next quarter, second quarter of 2022. So it's real, it's before us, happening. And we really appreciate all the work of the county, Alan, Clay, all the work of the administration and this council participating in our broadband efforts. The last page that you have in your handout kind of shows a blow-up of the additional areas that we're asking to partner with the county on for the additional subsidy. But it also shows roughly about 100 to 200 addresses in the red dots that are outside of that area that were just prohibited for us to get to in a cost-effective manner for the county. So there'll be a couple of hundred addresses that are not covered by this, but we believe that we will be able to go to the state. The state is implementing a broadband grant program over the course of the next year. We don't know when that's going to happen, and that's why we're encouraging the county to partner with us now, to get this done now while we're in the county. But we do believe that we'll be able to go to the state and ask for those additional couple hundred addresses to finish out the county once the state grant program is implemented. With that, I think the council is going to look at, talk about the contract later, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have about broadband here now.
Any questions over there?
As soon as we can get it started,
Heard from a couple of y'all on that front.
Can we make a motion and not to go with agreement?
Oh, yeah, it's on the agenda.
Let's do that. I'll make that motion.
Thank you, sir. And I'll be here to answer any questions later on if y'all think of any.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
We love working with Dillon County. Thank y'all very much. And we're getting started forthwith. And again, third quarter of 2023, we should have the majority of the 85% RDOF and the other 346 addresses you all approved tonight completed.
Well, we appreciate you and Coach Hayes for making Dillon County first.
Absolutely. And Coach Hayes has been a real asset to get this at the front of the list. We appreciate him and appreciate you all of you all. Thank you very much.
And Clay Young.
Clay's done a great job. He deserves a lot of credit for working through all this. Thank y'all.
Thank you for staying with me on it, really.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Number 9, our ordinance, a second reading, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of amendment to infrastructure financing agreement entered into between Dillon County, South Carolina, and Royal Panthera LLC dated as of August 24, 2016, pursuant to which Dillon County agrees to provide certain infrastructure credit to the company in connection with certain investments to be made by the company in Dillon County for the purpose of reducing the amount of the infrastructure credits to be provided to the company thereunder as other matters related to the foregoing. We have a motion to approve the second reading.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, on B, first reading. An ordinance to change zoning map classification from residential to RS2 to rural RU tax map number 118-00-00-432, 12.64 acres. Property owners, Bosan Land Outdoors LLC, proposed location, West Canal Road, Louder, South Carolina. We have a motion to approve the first reading.
Make that motion.
Have a motion and a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, number 10, finance report. Your finance report.
We in pretty good shape right now.
Okay.
We had a little bit of a struggle, and I have implemented the hiring freeze right now, which will be in place until we get a better handle on where we are with the situation. I have stopped all purchasing. It has to be approved by me for there to be any purchase made throughout the county for the next at least couple of months until we get a better handle of what's going on. Except for fuel and stuff like that are emergencies. I mean, obviously we've got to get those. We can't let the ambulances run out of medication, or we can't let the sheriff's department run out of fuel. Can't afford that. But other than that, we're trying to hold down on everything right now.
With that administrative report, you pretty well covered everything right there.
No, sir, I got a couple of things I'd like to just present to you.
Okay.
We have an impoundment lot down here, and I talked with the sheriff the other day, and there's a lot of stuff down there, and I'm sure most of you have ridden by and seen it. We have an offer from Mr. Earl Bullard, who's an auctioneer. He's willing to auction that stuff off for us at no charge to the county. I'm gonna ask y'all something if you would consider it, and that is if one of the municipalities sees something that they would like to have, is it all right for me to take them down there and let them look at it? And if they can use it, just let them have first shot at it. Do y'all have any problem with that? I'll get to it with all three municipalities and let them go down and look at it. If there's something that they can use, I think it would be better to let them use it. And then I would like permission to conduct an auction. We need that cleared out so the sheriff will have a place to impound vehicles that he needs to impound.
Does that, do we put a motion in?
No sell stuff.
It's not on the agenda though. It's not on
We ain't
the
got to vote on it, we just give you permission.
That's all I'm asking for, permission. I have the authority to do it. I just need y'all, I'm just wanting to advise y'all as to what I plan to do. That's all I'm trying to do. Unless y'all have an objection, that's what I intend to do.
Number 11, June 10th holiday.
It's been removed.
Okay. How about, number B, Family Fun Day?
Truth.
I will talk with Mr. Claude about having a Dillon County for all the employees of Friends and Family Day in July, the third Saturday in July. So we want to bring it for you guys to get your opinion on it.
We actually did something almost like that a few years ago. I think what we had then, it wasn't exactly like that, but what we had was like a employee appreciation, kind of what it was. They had, like, they fed them and did door prize and stuff like that, which, I mean, that was, I think, maybe employees or employees and their spouse, something like that. But that was something we did 4 years ago. It kind of stopped.
I think what you
I think
did
something
was
like
family
that.
fun with the kids stuff.
Yeah, it's
But
our
I think something like that would be a good idea. I think so.
That sounds good.
I like the family fun day.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make that motion that we have made Dillon County Family Fun Day for county employees.
Second.
Third.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
You said the third Saturday in
Yes.
July?
Oh, okay.
Third Saturday in July.
Got a location?
No, we'll have to work on it.
We'll work it out.
Broadband agreement. Highway 34 project, ARP fund.
Talking about, yeah, the county broadband, we got an agreement here.
Yeah, if we can circle back to the, I know y'all voted when they made their presentation, but there is an actual contract, and that you need to approve, which you kind of approved by voting on, and also to accept the $1,420,000 in grant funds.
Well, that's what that one.
Say that again now.
Just the broadband agreement on this.
Broadband agreement that you have.
First, yeah.
That you kind of already voted on, I just want to clear up for the record.
We are using ARP money for
Right.
that?
That's
I
right.
know we don't have to.
I got it covered.
Yeah.
If you just vote to approve, it was for the what he was just going on.
So just vote on it again?
Yeah, for
Okay.
real, just to clear up that we
I'll make a
approved.
motion.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. The Highway 34 project.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to take this up in executive session under Tri-County Community Contractual. It's all interrelated.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the Highway 34 ARP project, I'll just tie it in with the executive session under the Tri-County Community Contract. Yeah, we'll tie it all in together, one project.
Okay, on E, mitigation infrastructure project, Riverdale.
Chairman, I got Mr. Moses back there too.
Yeah, you got Cliff out there if he just.
Cassie too. If you look in there and see, we thanks to his hard work in there, basically, here's Cliff right here, Colonial Cliff, and we got a grant we applied for $1,420,000, which we got awarded from the state, the Sacramento Department of Resiliency, and for the Riverdale area. So I'll let you explain it.
Okay, Council Chairman, Council member, this here started back when, I think, yeah, Mr. Moses, he's in the audience there. When he was the emergency management director from the hurricane floodings that we had in 16 and 18 and then other floodings along the way. They tried to get some mitigation funds to get a study going to try to see what kind of help we could get with any help in alleviating these flooding problems. So they got a grant through the State Emergency Management Division, and it was a 75% amount that they gave, and then the county matched it with 25, which come to $100,000 that was done. AECOM, they're an engineering firm. The county contracted with them. They did studies of areas in the county that was given to them through, they had some public comments, and through those public comments that occurred in Dillon, Latta, and Lakeview, they took those comments, and then of course they did studies on their own through their engineering, mapping, that type of thing. And as a result of that, the three areas, Dillon, Latta, and Lakeview, that were affected, the Riverdale area got this grant for $1,420,000 that Clay Young just spoke to you about, and that is a 100% grant there.
Anybody got any questions about that, Cliff?
Yeah, we've got a mapping area here that they've done. If y'all want to just kind of look at that, look at it.
It's in your book.
Okay, they're saying it's in your book here.
Yes, basically, the study came up with about 3 or 4 different areas, and this is one of the areas that the state funded. I'm hoping we can come back and we're going to fund some of the other ones too. I mean, I think this is kind of phase one to get it kicked off. I think there's going to be some other funding available for the other future projects.
The 25% matching money, that comes from
We've already took care of that. That's already done. We got the study done. AECOM did the study. And also want to comment, the city of Dillon kind of tacked on with us. The city of Dillon's getting about $3.5–4 million. This is a tack on because we kind of work together with the city. So
Yeah, about the
buyback.
buyback on the properties that were along the river.
We've got that agreement that's been approved. We got 25% that's been done, and we need to contract with somebody to get it out. Is that right?
That's right.
When are they looking at getting that?
I think we've got to go ahead once we get the contractor. Is that right?
So I've had some of them ask me about that.
Yeah, I think we're very close. Once we bid out for a contractor, then we should be good to go with that.
So they're getting 75% from the federal government and
75%
state match 25.
State match for 25, so it's it costs county.
Mr. Moses, at the time, they have a tentative date on when they're gonna start, or was it just based on when we got a contract?
One of the things I would like to say is, if I can get out of this corner here, one of the things I would like to say, it's good to be here, Mr. Chairman, Councilman, and everybody else. One thing I would like to say is that I would advise you do what you want to, but I would advise you to let one of the engineers, either AECOM or the Awards Company, handle this thing, because what happened in the buyout program, where people like Jack McInnes and his neighbor, Hamilton, in the buyout program, those houses, if they got asbestos or lead in them, they need to be checked before you tear them down. So that engineer firm will have somebody to do that. And there's that program is different by itself than a study. A study is where there's several grants here. And it look like y'all, they put them all three together, kind of like. But the study is where they determine how much water and where it's going out in the city of Dillon to the area and study that thing so they can come up with some numbers to tell you all what you need to do in the future. Somebody won't get drowned when you have another hurricane here. There's several places that water go out. And that study is supposed to be done encompassing that information, whether it's behind CVS with the Squires Lake and the other lake behind that Harold Rice house over there and drops down into the little PD River. And the other lake is the other way the water goes out is by the Pittsburgh Paint under the rail track, which everybody is familiar with that, and goes under behind Davis Auto and out through Lucius Road. I haven't been in all these places, so those places. And the other one is the lake that goes behind the elementary school and come out by the sheriff department and go through
Maple Swamp.
Yeah, Maple Swamp. And that study is supposed to incorporate that. So the city is doing a study, and along with, I guess, ACON has already done it, because in the future, in order to get money in this county to relocate the emergency management office or whatever, you got to have that document. And those were the grants we applied for. And so you got the one, and you got the other for hazard mitigation, and then you got the other one for a program, a flood that we had, I mean, the hurricanes in 2018 with the county, including the lunch bill and all of it, $300,000. So you got 4 different grants. So I don't know if they put it all together, but it sounds like they've done the study. Federal government has awarded the $1.3 million to the buyout program. That's called a buyout program. And we got the awards company to do the application. So they're waiting on the county to give them authorization. I don't know whether ACON or the award company is going to do that. So you got really, and you got the hazard mitigation plans that has to be done every 5 years. And they do this year. And that was we got a $75,000 award for that in the beginning. And Michelle Fezier, the young lady who worked with me, went back and applied for another $25,000. So that gave a total of $100,000 for the hazard mitigation plan. So you get 4 grants. So you got to be watching them. You can pick it up all mixed together if you want to. You'll have confusion. But anyway, and you got no deadline, but you got a time. I'm sorry, you got a timeline you need to get with Jack knows, and once y'all decide, because we informed them, the letter is in one of those books, that the county did not have that 25%. The 75% is all they may have gotten unless they come up with their own 25%. So I don't know whether they went back and applied for an additional 25%. I know they applied for additional 25% on the flood study, but not the buyout. So you can't get them all mixed up like that, okay? So
I was told they got 25% on the buyout. I was
No,
told.
we got some money for the buyer. For the
Now,
25.
I know you got 1.3. I don't know about.
Let me ask you this: do them houses have to be tested for asbestos?
They gotta be before you tear them down.
The ones that were flooded before you tear
That's why
them
you're going to have to go with somebody like the Ward Company.
Yeah, they got, one of the engineering firm, like Cliff was saying, that has to be done before. So I'm just telling you, you got 4 different grants out there, so don't get them all confused, because you start talking about them and saying it's the Riverdale study grant. Now that's the buyout, because Cozo Briggs' house is in that. We had 6 houses over here and Cozo house over there when we did that. So you can't say the Riverdale, so you might be calling it that so y'all can identify it, but you can't just say it like that, okay? So don't get them mixed up, because you got a lot of money, and make sure you got the right person handling it, so you know where your money going, so you won't lose that money. And one of the things you got to make sure that you tell those people out there, I don't want to take over, I got it, is that this thing is all volunteer. Those people, those citizens can get out anytime they want to, but they could not do nothing to those houses until they was awarded the money. And then the county can back out. Get the county and say, I'm finished with it. Send the money back. You ain't got to do that. I'm telling you, it's in the book. Get the book and check it out. So what I'm telling you, don't get it mixed up with Riverdale and the flood study and the hazard mitigation. So you got 4 different grants you're really dealing with, okay? But Michelle, she and I would come up out there and she would do the actually applying so she knew where all the money is. She might be out there. She out there? She's not. But she and I would get together, but she was the one doing the application for each one of those grants. So you don't need to detach from her, you need to attach to her until you get that completed. She works for the Red Cross now, and I'll say like Forrest Gump. That's all I got to say about that.
You recommend we go with an engineering firm, right? Don't you recommend we go with an engineering firm?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you don't want to do that without an engineering firm.
You need to do it, yeah.
Because it got to be checked. You go throw the stuff in the water someplace and somebody hadn't done it, you got to point to the engineering firm. You don't want to do that without your lawyer. You want to point to your lawyer.
Get the 1.20, yeah.
That's what he is.
Yeah, he is, there's a resolution associated with that, which is part of this. Part of this document, you know, at least part of it. It's on the back, it just says that the county.
Yes, it's attached to the project proposal.
Yeah, it's on the second page of the project proposal.
Right. If you pull out this sheet here, it's on the attachment on the back.
We just need to approve the resolution.
I made that motion that we approve the resolution.
Yes, sir. Second. Any more discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, bill number 11, recreational quest, environmental leadership, community service project.
That's a lip sync contest gala, and it is this year's environmental leadership class is their community service project. And they got some sponsor tables for 500, 300, and 200.
I discussed this with the administrator, and I told him I was really in favor of this environmental leadership. Does a lot of free work in the county, and what they want to have is a lip sync contest. It'll be at the country club, and it's going to be mainly farmers from Lava, and Brad Smith, the assistant chief from Lava, is in this class, and he talking me into using this project, and what money goes with this project is going right back to the county, and it goes to Station 2, the fire department. And I'm trying to find out, what money we can get up, and I talked to some people, and I thought we'd have about $250, and our administrator said he'd pay the $250 out of his pocket to make it so we can get the $500 table, 6 tickets.
That's all right.
I put 50 with it.
Thank you. That means I don't have to put what you want. Thank you. But I'd be glad to match it.
Lisa, I had to put 150, because Harold said he'd put 50, but he's not here today, so I didn't say he will. So I put 150. Is that 250? Okay.
Okay, next we have the R3 conference. Mom, you want to tell them what all that is?
I just read the second paragraph of it. It says, the Artery Leadership Conference is a premier church leadership conference, first of its kind, being held in Dillon, South Carolina. The goal of the conference is to empower senior executives and auxiliary leaders in ministry to reimagine, realign, and reignite the mission and vision God has given them in light of the adjustments required in the new normal. We are aware of the impact that the local church has in pertaining with the communities they serve. Our conference will help the church leaders who attend maximize that partnership and effective growth and progress. So it's basically a leadership conference that bridges the gap from church leadership and community
Where's
leadership.
it gonna be?
Dates on this.
It's April the 28th through the 30th. There's 14 sessions, 12 facilitators, 3 labs, 1 lunch, and 1 powerful concluding worship service. And it's gonna be at the church.
Yeah, Great Expectations Church, right down 301.
I'll give him 100 at least.
I'm gonna give 4.
You're 40.
400 for me, not 40.
At least I do 50.
Okay, we did have one more that, we didn't get on the agenda in time. It's, a scholarship gala, and they're doing a program, and they're looking for ads in the program. And a half page is $50, includes 2 pictures, and a full page is $100 with 4 pictures.
I'll do 100.
What kind of scholarship is it? What is it for?
It's on top.
Got some more community excellence.
Yeah, I'll give 50 on that.
I do 50.
That's all.
Do we have a motion to approve the recreational request?
I made that motion, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, now the executive session. Executive session, we're going to discuss Tri-County Committee contract matters, interim county administrator, and also the Highway 34 project ARP funds. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
I made that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. We'll take
Y'all waiting on me? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, we had an executive session where no action was taken. We discussed some things and, did we have a motion on any of the things we discussed?
I'll make a motion that we vote for the Highway 34 project using ARP funds.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
I also make a motion that we vote for the interim administrator Claude Graham's contract that was proposed to us.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Any more discussion?
How much?
All in favor, raise your right hand.
I thank y'all. No, please don't keep me too long.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I made that motion.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
What's the wrong with you?